Hi, I'm Jenny with Garden Gate Magazine, and today we're going to do a little pruning of my Dwarf Korean Lilac here. Now, Dwarf Korean Lilacs bloom on old wood, so that means that right after they bloom, they start putting on some new growth. Now you want to take off the old blooms so that it looks a little prettier, and we can do that in a couple of ways. We can do this just as a deadheading, which means we come in and we trim off some of those old long stems with the dead blooms on them. And it's okay if you get a little bit of the foliage if it's long like that. And you're just going to keep snipping off here and there. And you can take up to a third of this whole plant off as you're deadheading. And if you want to do that with a hedge shears, like an electric hedge shears, that works really quick and easy. Or you can use one of these and just go in. You don't have to be overly careful, but that just takes out all those dead stems. And you can take off up to a third of this bush, just like that. So I've sheared down a little bit. I've gotten most of the deadheading off. I've taken branches off that have all the dead flowers on them and given it a nice shape. Now, if I'm satisfied with how big it is and the shape it is, I might leave it at that and then go back in and just fine-tune some of those sneaky little flowers that were down a little bit more into the shrub. But otherwise, this one's ready to go. But this one, a particular Korean lilac, is a little bit overgrown, so I'm going to go ahead and come back in and do a rejuvenation pruning, and I'm going to come back and start cutting in the back. So I'm going to take out a third of the old growth, and then I may cut it back even further once I'm done with that, because this will be something I want to shape it and keep it a lot smaller than I have in the past few years. So when we rejuvenate a Dwarf Korean Lilac, we're going to get back in here. This one hasn't been done in a long time, so there's a lot of growth going on in here. But I'm going to start by taking out things like crossing branches and some of the older branches, like down in here, the big thick ones. And then that gives the younger branches a chance to come in and grow. So we're going to go in, and it gets a little tricky and really tight in here. But we're going to go in and get that one out because it's a crisscrossy branch. And we'll just sort of evaluate as we go along. Like this one, I think I'm going to cut out, but I'm going to use my little chainsaw. I'm going to pull those out. And when I'm all done, it's going to look like I really butchered it, but that's okay. All right, so I've taken a good chop at this plant, and I've gone in and cleared out about a third of the old growth, took out some crossing branches, and I've gotten it off my path, which is really my ulterior motive. Now I could probably cut down even more, but I hate to go too far down and leave it with, minimal leaves. So I'm going to cut it back to about here this year. Next year I'll probably go in once there's some new growth and some growth coming down here because it's getting more light, and then I'll shear it back a little bit more after it blooms. But I think we're in pretty good shape for this year.
Hi, I'm Kristen Bean Sullivan with Garden Gate Magazine. If you like this video, be sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel, where you'll find tips, garden ideas, and how-to help. And be sure and click the bell so you can be notified every time we upload a new video.